Darren, it's the FA Cup, of course, first round this weekend. It's always a special competition for a manager. How special is it for you?
No, they're great games. I mean, we can obviously look back at the last round and say what a night it was and how dramatic, and I hope it's not the same as that by any stretch of the imagination. But no, it's a very, very good cup competition, and especially for clubs like ourselves. Definitely, first round is an achievement or a step. But you got to credit Yate and the other step 3 and 2 clubs that are still in the competition, because it's a hard journey to get to this point.
Yeah. How important is a cup run? I mean, obviously the finances that come with it and so on, we all know about those. But from the club's point of view, it's an important competition to stay part of.
Yeah, the finance thing's a bit of a myth, because I've been to round 3 a few times and taken championship clubs to replays, and I didn't see any of the money in the playing squad thereafter. So the finance in terms of the club and the operation as a whole is always important. Of course it is, but for a manager, we want to obviously reinvest in players and squads. So I'll have to ask Scott after Saturday if, of course, we're successful. But it's just a really good competition. I think especially when you grow up in this country, the FA Cup, I mean, probably not so much now for this generation because of the Champions League and the emergence of that, but one of the first games I can remember watching live was an FA Cup game of Man United v Oldham in 1990, and the cup final against Crystal Palace, and great days, really great days normally in our culture surrounded with your family, and it's a proper day. So brilliant games. I've been fortunate enough to be involved in an FA Cup final, albeit from a learning point of view with the FA. I managed to get out on the pitch, and 80,000 people at Wembley. It's on FA Cup final day. It's unbelievable, incredible.
Yeah,
that's where we're getting to.
And it's against a team in the first round from a lower level, of course. So, how much pressure does that put on you and your players?
No pressure. No, that is a bit of a myth, because I think the reputation of the competition just takes over. The whole thing about it. The whole thing is we talk about being in the hat. The term being in the hat. That excitement of not knowing who you're going to draw. Like I said before, Yate deserve a lot of credit for their journey and their progress through this competition. But the most important thing is for these young lads, they're playing in this competition probably for the first time at this level. So it'll be an exciting day for them.
Yeah, what do you make of Yate? I mean, you referenced them there, did well to get this stage, had a good win against Salisbury in the week as well.
No, they're obviously in a rich vein of form. You can't deny momentum at whatever level, and they've got qualities. They have got qualities, and it'll be very, very important that we share our qualities with everyone there on Saturday, and we ensure that we're robust, professional, very, very committed, and get the job done. And that will be the kind of the cold interior of our dressing room leading up to the game. It'll be about being ruthless. It'll be about being professional. It'll be about getting jobs done and making sure that we're efficient. It may not be a wonderfully smooth offensive display or defensive display, but on these sorts of games it doesn't really matter. It's just important that we get the job done.
Yeah, is it in some ways, or a lot for the players, perhaps more so, a trip into the unknown? Not many people have been to Lodge Road before, so don't really know what to expect from the ground venue. Does that come into thoughts at all? Do you talk about that and tell them what sort of a venue they're heading to?
No, not really, because most of these lads are going to these places for the first time anyway. Stockports and all the other Wrexhams and places like that. So not really. That we'd have to talk about that every week with our squad. I've been there many a time. So it's a really big pitch. The pitch looked in good condition on Tuesday night, and it will give us a chance to pass it, and we will have to pass it. Whatever we do, whichever strategy that we deliver to the players, we'll have to do it very, very well, like in any game.
Yeah, and it's not a long trip. I mean, you've had some sort of close games, if you like, haven't you, with Weymouth and now Yate as well. I mean, that's a good thing, and there'll be a good number of Yeovil fans there too.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, the travel that we do is excessive, to say the least. It's one of the things that we have to really work hard with the players in terms of recovery and things like that. We've all been on holiday, and we all know what a journey abroad is. Some of these trips, I mean, Grimsby, that was 7.5 hours. I mean, it was incredible. Last Saturday, the Solihull, we left here at 8 o'clock, and we just managed to nick pre-match at the hotel at 1:15. You normally eat at 11:30. So that took 5.5 hours, just to get some beans on toast in our system before we played. And the fact that this group in particular can then go out and perform physically the way they're doing is, a tribute to their character and their mentality. And that's what I keep saying, this is a really special group.
Yeah. How are the squad ahead of the weekend? Is there a chance that we might see someone like Luke Wilkinson come back in, or is that maybe still too soon for him?
No, Luke's going to train today. We tried last week and it wasn't right. So Luke's going to get out there today. Morgan Williams has done a little bit more this week. I would expect minimum one of them to be available for the game, which ties it nicely, obviously, with Max being suspended. And it'll be nice to have, we signed 3 centre-halves this summer to cover 2 positions, and for the majority of this season so far, we've only had 1. So it'll be nice to have the 2 back, and then come Monday, rain or shine, we will have Max back as well for the next league game. So we may have got through. I mean, October was brutal. The 2 Weymouth games, and the league form, and we were trying to find a way and something that can get us more wins. It was a tough month. So, but I'm hoping we've broke the back of that now, and we can look forward, and we can look with a little bit more excitement of the players coming back in. I'm really pleased to say Ruben is ahead of schedule, and we should see him by the end of the month, which will be a massive addition to us. So, and then we'll just be waiting on good old Mark. So it'll be nice to have them all back. It'll be lovely at some stage this year where we've got a fully fit squad. Heaven forbid that happens. But no, real promising with Morgan and Luke. He's given Alex Bradley another week as well to kind of cement the work he's been doing. So we are getting there. We are getting there slowly but surely. Like I said, I feel like October was always going to be ridiculously tough. And I feel like we might have broke the back of that. Our shape, our pattern of play, our performances are very good. I actually think we're in the best form we've been in since those first 4 games right now. And that's promising. It's always nice to be positive around the group and reassure them that they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, good luck for the weekend, Darren.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Darren, they always say, FA Cup, everybody can relax now. It's changed from the league. Do you find that applies? It's a well-known sort of expression in
the definitely. Football. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's only a well-known expression because teams have not exploited, but used the cup competition as almost as a disguise for their league form. I don't understand how that works because whether you win or lose on a Saturday, you normally keep that feeling towards the next game, regardless what the cup competition is. Our feel at the moment in the group is that we are playing very well. We have, you look at the last 10 minutes of the game, not even 10 minutes, last 5 minutes of the game Saturday, Moss and Robinson were extraordinary. Jordan Barnett on the back post was extraordinary. And so I feel like we're getting we are making progress with this group. I don't want to start building expectations again because I've spent the last 6-7 weeks trying to manage expectations. We are where we should be. But I do think in this current vein, we are playing very well. And I'm excited to see where that can go. I'm excited to... Every game for this particular group of players is a challenge. Everything's a challenge because they're seeing it for the first time. And they'll be seeing Yate for the first time. They'll be seeing the first round of the FA Cup for the first time, some of them. But it's quite exciting going into that with them, knowing it's their first occasion. This is my 500th, experience of the FA Cup. And so you can see the difference in those players that haven't had them experiences. Mark Little's completely different to Dan Moss, for example, because of the way they've lived their lives and what they've experienced so far. So, no, I think it'll be a really good game for both clubs. Again, Yate have done magnificent to travel this far.
Yeovil have got a huge reputation as giant killers. I suppose you could say they're up against. They could get giant killed themselves on Saturday, which obviously we don't want that to happen. But do you feel you'd like to add your little chapter into the Yeovil Town history of your team that's moved on and made a name for itself in the cup?
I think I'm running out of room on chapters that I've experienced as Yeovil Town manager. I'm not sure many experienced. No one else experienced COVID as Yeovil Town manager. No one, with Lee passing, and so I feel like everything we've done here is kind of a chapter in the history books. Even getting to the playoffs in year one, that it'd been a while since anyone had done that. But absolutely, I think the younger ones will dream of the ties that are potentially on the table. Of course, human nature. When you do it for so long and you've been involved in these games so many times, it's just a game. It's a game. It is a game. It won't feel any different to Terry and I Saturday. It'll just be, we have to beat what's in front of us, and whether that's Grimsby or Shrewsbury or Yate, the motivation and desire is very much there to try and win the game.
After the defeat at Grimsby, you must have been quite pleased that you came back and at least got a draw at Sarll and possibly should have won the game up there.
Well, I think the great thing is with it is that we have to be. I know I keep talking about this. The first team I built here was an instant team. You lifted it and it off you go, do that, and that was fine. This team isn't an instant team; it's a process team. And the processes that we're going through of making sure that Jordan Barnett can deal with the back post and defend properly. Dan Moss's attacking players coming on unbelievably. Max Hunt playing game after game after game. All of these things, there's so many processes in this team because of their inexperience and because of their age. And the way I feel about the squad at the moment is it is moving forward. And it's trying to be brave. We went to Grimsby. We had more of the ball than Grimsby, played more passes than Grimsby, had more shots than Grimsby. Not many teams will go to Grimsby in front of 7,000 with an experienced team and try and attack Grimsby at Grimsby. We did. So I'm perfect. I'm okay with getting beat. I am okay. There's a manner in which you should be, that every defeat should be, and it should be that you've thrown as many punches and you've tried to knock out the opponent. Metaphorically, I'm talking. And I think we've been doing that. And I thought Solihull Saturday, especially first half, our energy was just incredible, absolutely incredible. And then second half, when they had to dig in, and probably the bit where young players are criticised the most, resilience, robustness, decision making, all of those elements are normally critiqued when you're working with young players. They were brilliant at it. Absolutely fantastic. With Staunton obviously calling the shots and Grant Smith and Dale Gorman. I thought they were really, really great. So we feel like we're moving. We feel like with Morgan and Luke doing more and more each day in training, we feel like the squad's getting better. It's amazing when players like Morgan and Luke come back into the squad, the way the squad looks different. It looks different, especially with Lou because of his personality and his size. The squad looks bigger all of a sudden. All of a sudden, he stands next to Yusuf and Joe Quigley and Max Hunt, and you go, "Blimey, we're big." Take him out, and you go, "We're not, we're not very big." It's weird how it does that for you. But I think all of those elements of those players coming back, I think the way the team's playing, we've got a lot to be positive about. And like I've always said, we've just got to make sure that we are competitive. And then I always think with these young teams that from January onwards they kick on.
When you brought Josh Staunton into the club, you were very, very, excited about the prospect of him. Gets injured, virtually the whole season out. Are you now seeing the Josh Staunton that you knew you were going to get?
No, you're seeing the Josh Staunton I knew we were going to get. He's a fantastic player, and an even better guy. And the toll that he would have taken last year, he lost his best friend to cancer, then got injured after that, season out, then he lost his captain. I mean, the toll that he would have had last year, Josh, would have been incredible. Mm-hmm. He never once missed a training day. He never once missed a game. He travelled with us. Brilliant guy. Absolutely brilliant guy. If someone could say to me, Darren, you can have Josh Staunton for the next 10 years of your career, I'd be overjoyed, because they're the types of people. I remember we was going through that first bad run. No one would know this, so this is a bit sort of internal, but we were going through the bad run at the start of last season, and he'd had a problem with his knee anyway, and he knocked on the door and he said, just put me in. I'll take an injection, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do whatever. Just put me back out there. And he was injured. When you're 24, you might have been 23 then, and you're making those types of commitments to your team, to your teammates, to your manager. Incredible guy. Brilliant guy. Good captain as well. Very good captain. Talks a lot.
Yeah, but he just seems so consistent at the moment. I've seen 4 games this season, and every game he's just...
Yep. And we don't think he's in his best position. I still think his best position is in midfield.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the pairing that him and Gorman had before Luke's injury. We tried really hard to find some sort of recruitment for the centre-half position. We couldn't find a central defender that we thought was better than Josh, and that's why we signed Mitch Rose, because Mitch Rose was the best player available to our resources that we could recruit. So no, he's been great. He's been absolutely great, and like I said, brilliant captain, absolutely brilliant captain.
Well, do your best to win on Saturday, because it gives us we're a game closer to the potential of seeing Ronaldo down here.
Exactly right.
So
kicking Ronaldo. Yeah.
Best of luck.
Duh.
How you doing, Darren?
Hi, mate.
Just everything you spoke about before, how would you sum up October? Is it 1 win over 90 minutes in 8? Is it only 2 defeats in 8?
You're summing it up.
I'm just trying to give you the options.
I'm not. You're summing it.
Or is it, you've become a real team that's hard to beat, but you haven't quite got that killer instinct just yet?
Well, a killer instinct's a player. That's not something you develop, killer instincts. Otherwise, all the problems any team has in football to kill off another team, we would do some on the training pitch, and over a matter of sessions, we would cure that problem. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. So the solution for a killer instinct is a player. That's what it is. We believe in Joe and Addy, Sonny, Knowles, Wakefield. We believe in them, and they're going through a period of where they might miss a few chances. Reece Murphy missed a few chances. He went on periods where he didn't score. Doofus was the same. So I think it's perfectly natural. I just think that apart from you being a negative Nelly, I think I said that as kindly as I can put together. I think the manner in which we're trying to kill teams off is more important to this process at the moment than the last bit. And I've been really pleased with the last bit. And Addy deserved a goal Saturday and probably the week before. And Joe, when he come on, deserved a goal and created a great chance for himself Saturday. And so we know we're getting closer. Now, the other way of looking at October is that we went from being the 12th best defensive team in the league to the 3rd best defensive team in the league. But you didn't want to sum up October like that.
I said you only had 2 defeats in 8.
So I think that is, to have a team with an average age of 21 and a half years and still have the 3rd best defensive record, they should take a lot of credit for that, those young people in there. And as should Terry and all the coaches, the goalkeeping coach, Craig. They should take a lot of credit for that, because there aren't many young teams that are the 3rd best defensive team in their league. Normally the two don't go hand in hand. Normally you have young, naive, weak, experienced, robust, resilient. That's normally what we get. But this team haven't been like that. Mr. Staunton's a big reason for that. Absolutely, Grant Smith is a huge reason for that. But I think they're going about their job in as good a way as they can go about it. And while they do that, I'm fine with it. So whether October was 10 wins, 1 win, or 2 defeats, or 9 defeats, I'm very fortunate to be able to see them Monday to Friday, and I'm really pleased with what they're putting into it.
And obviously, we lost the 2.
No more questions.
Obviously, we lost the 2 Exeter loanees this week. Is there any plans to bring numbers in, or are we just going to wait for the senior players to come back as they're near?
No, I had conversations with a club, with a championship club, about a centre forward. I think the timing's not right for them at the minute. Don't think the timing's quite right for us at the minute with the shape that we're playing. Because I don't want to. Sometimes I feel I have to, but I don't want to, in an ideal world, bring young people in. And we are always talking about young people, so it's another young one. And they just sit on the bench, or they don't make the squad, because they might as well have stayed there. I may as well have not spent that money and waited for something that was going to really impact. So I think if something was available that would impact, I think we could do it. I think the fact that Ruben is so far ahead of schedule, that's something that I'm contemplating as well, because I think Ruben is in the top 5 centre forwards in this division. And yeah, you just work it like that. But the market's changing all the time. I might get a phone call from that club tomorrow, and they say, "Come on, let's do it." And it might be right for us. It might not be right for us. But remember, my job's to always ask for more, and Scott's job's always to say no. So it's just it's just the way that works. But like I said, I'm happy at the moment. We are still short in terms of real experience. You know, if you take our team at the minute, but you add Mitch Rose, Luke Wilkinson, Mark Little, Ruben Reid, it's not a bad side. We're starting to, Uncle Dow can't moan that he hasn't got what he needs then. So I think this moment's a bit circumstantial. But I enjoy working with them, and they enjoy working. And while we have that dynamic, we will always punch above our weight, and we are punching above our weight. I mean, let's make no bones about it. The second youngest team in the division is second or third bottom. So we're doing okay. We just need to keep nice and steady, very, very humble in our play, very sensible in our expectations, and this group will fly, absolutely fly.
It's probably just a bit too far ahead to think about, but are you going to be in the dugout again Wednesday, and do you know what sort of team you're going to play?
Sorry, what do you say? Am I going to be in the
dugout on Wednesday?
Oh, absolutely.
And do you know what sort of team you're going to play, or is it too early to say?
I will play. It will be the likelihood is it will be anyone who's a sub Saturday. Will play, definitely. I've never been bothered about playing the experienced ones at these games. I know some managers get a little bit of the willies when they when they need to. Well, that's what they're paid to do, don't they? Play football matches. I'm paid to coach. So we'll do it properly. We'll definitely be doing it properly. And whether there's one senior player and 1 senior player and 10 youth team players, we'll still do the game. I might send Terry somewhere else to watch a game, but I think it's important that they excuse me, they play for Yeovil. They're managed by the Yeovil manager. So, but I look forward to them as much as the Saturday games. I really do like those games.
Best of luck for you, Darren. Cheers.
Hi, Gaffer, you all right?
How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good.
It's been touched on already, but the FA Cup means so much to Yeovil Town historically. It's probably kept us in business on a couple of occasions. How important and how difficult is that to get across to a fairly young side? You have to use someone like Terry Skiverton, who has been there at its very big moments, like the Liverpool game in 2004, to kind of get that across.
No, I don't think so. That's nothing that them young, well, any of those people need to worry about. The financial status of the clubs for the boardroom. That's not for our changing room. Jordan Barnett can't count to 10 anyway, so there's no point talking money with him. So I think that the most important thing is they focus on their current form. I think they focus on their current flow of their play. For example, this week been massive on. I think Matt Worthington's probably playing the best football he's played in 2.5 years for me. Right now, just his all-round game is so much more balanced than what it was 2.5 years ago. I feel like he's stepping more into an older player type position. So I think the most important thing, again, and it's all circumstantial to the people you're working with, but working with this group of players, I think that's more important for them to know that, they're doing okay. We need to keep moving. We need to keep improving. But the wheels are turning. We're certainly not going backwards.
You said that you went to Yate on Tuesday to see their game in midweek. How difficult has it been to get footage, get stats, get sort of coverage on an opposition that's a little bit further down the pyramid than we are?
It's really embarrassing, actually, because most of these clubs have got more resources and infrastructure in terms of staffing than we have. No one films our games unless we get it off the streaming process. We don't have an analyst. Most of these like Step 3 and Step 2 clubs, they've got analysts and things like that. So we haven't actually had a problem. We've got a lot of good friends in and around the area that we play obviously every year in pre-season of that standard, and they've been very very forthcoming with information and stuff like that. So Terry and I try and pick the bones out of as much as we can and prepare them. But the actual competition does distort performance levels. I always think a team's 20% better in the FA Cup just because it's the FA Cup. So you have to be prepared for that give and take.
On Saturday, with the sending off of Max Hunt, Jack Robinson went into central defence and performed incredibly well. He got my man of the match on air on the BBC. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. What does it say about him that he is able just to, at his age and his level of experience, just slot in there as if he's been in there the whole time? Because he looked like he was a complete natural in there.
Well, that's where he plays for their at the Middlesbrough's under 23s. If we're round holing Jack, he's probably a left side centre half in a back three. I love him at left back because of his passing ability. He does remind me a little bit of Dickinson, even though he's far quicker than that old has-been was. But he passes the ball so beautifully. But no, Jack's more than competent in there. It's funny enough, we had a review a couple of days ago with Middlesbrough and Jack and his agent, and Jack's absolutely loving his time with us, really enjoying it. He had a bit of a tricky start because he came in, he got injured, but he has settled brilliantly, and he's become a real important part of our team, and he's someone that we'll definitely be speaking to Middlesbrough about around the Christmas period, about making sure that he stays with us longer. Because the thing is with these younger loans, and Romeo was exactly the same, is that you normally get something back from them in the second half of the season when they've gone through the first bit of learning what the team does, how does the manager play, this is how we want you to behave, represent the football club, blah, blah. In the second half of the season, you get something back in terms of really good, strong performances. And looking back at Romeo got better and better as the season went on. His best game was the semi-final of the playoff. I mean, he was absolutely incredible that day. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to start something and then someone else gets almost the benefit of that learning experience somewhere else. And while Jack is enjoying it and he's happy to be here and he's hundreds of miles from home, I think we should try and keep that continuity. He's a fabulous footballer, very, very good.
It's obviously been mentioned a few times, but numbers are pretty low. But inside this squad, you've got a number of players. Josh Staunton's done it in midfield and in defence. Jack Robinson's showing himself across the back four. Jordan Barnett, Charlie Wakefield, Tom Knowles have all taken on different roles within the squad. Does that make your job a little bit easier, knowing that you can put a few more square pegs in round holes and for it to still work and for performances to still be relatively high?
Yeah, no, it's a lot harder. And that's why the transition of shapes always takes a bit longer with younger player, with this group, because we got a coach. Charlie Wakefield's never played centre forward. We had to coach him how to play centre forward. He's been a wide man his whole life. In a front three at Chelsea, which is their sort of staple. So we had to coach him how to play the role, and that takes time. It takes repetition. It takes practice. It takes a lot of discipline from the individual. And I actually think he's suited to the role, Charlie. But no, they're all. Jordan Barnett's been quite simple because Jordan just sees the ball, chases it, smacks whoever got it, gets up, passes it, does something to the away fans, and then runs off again. So he was quite simple. But I think sometimes when you go into different positions, it's who you're going in with. And Jordan's got Dale there, and Dale would have him on a tight leash. I mean, a real tight leash. So I think that's been a nice balance. But no, they've done fantastically well. We have to do it that way. Like you said, we haven't got the players to just drop one in, drop one out. Like in year one, that's what we had in year one. As soon as Murphy was injured, Courtney would step up, start scoring. Then Courtney would be injured, Murphy would go back in and start scoring. So we haven't really got that. So we're always trying to reinvent ourselves every time that we get an injury. But to have, like I said previously, to have such a strong defensive record is, I think they should be very proud of that.
Finally, from me then, he was there on Saturday carrying some bags and gear and was sat on the bench. How's Lawson Diaz doing? Is he anywhere closer to being able to kick a football?
Well, first of all, he's a fabulous chap, a really great lad, and I mean he got off the bench a few times when Noel's got kicked and Lawson got off the bench. I said, "Why are you out? What are you going to do? You're like a paperclip. What are you going? No, he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and very, very emotionally attached to this football club now. He's still going to be a new year return. He's working very hard. His attitude around the place is magnificent. He's a real spiky. I know he's a very technical footballer, very creative, very constructive footballer. But he's a real spiky character, Lawson. He can be a little bit of a what's the best word to say it? A bit mischievous at times. So he can push buttons. That's probably the best way of saying it. But I like having those people around. Because it's important that players are constantly pushing players, not the manager pushing players, but when they're in that dressing room, which is their domain, which is their office, that they're constantly pushing each other throughout. And I think Lawson's done a brilliant job of that. Again, never misses a game, comes everywhere with us. I sit him on the bench, I ask him what he thinks. He's got a wonderful brain, an analytical mind. He'll be a very good coach someday. No, the quicker he gets back, the better. I'd love him to play for me again. I'd love that if he could get back out there.
Fantastic. All the best on Saturday. Thank you.